welcome back. Welcome back to the Dawg House YouTube fam. As y'all can see, I got my guy Aaron Murray right here on the right hand side. He just dropped a video on his YouTube channel called Snaps. Him and this guy T Bob Herbert, aka the Attention Seeker, they have a YouTube channel where they do live reactions and breakdowns about college football. And he dropped the video. I'm thinking it was today, where he gave his opinion. Well, actually, the caption of the video says, "What's wrong with Carson Beck?" So he's giving his opinion in this video on what he thinks is wrong with Carson Beck, and I'm just basically bringing this video so that I can give my reaction or my opinion to his opinion, and then get you guys' opinion. So enough said about that. Let's get straight to the video.
What is wrong with Carson Beck? That is the big talk right now among Georgia fans after yesterday's win against the Florida Gators. But Carson threw another 3 interceptions. That is 11 picks on the year. All those essentially have started since the Alabama game. 3 versus Bama, 2 versus Mississippi State, 3 versus Texas, and then 3 yesterday when he went back home to Jacksonville to face the Gators. So 17 touchdowns on the year, 11 interceptions, and I'm going to talk about that, talk about the game a little bit, my overall thoughts for both teams, Georgia and Florida. But this is what everyone wants to talk about, obviously, because you have in my opinion, the number 1 quarterback heading into the season, a guy that I thought played really well last year, very mature quarterback, is going to have the offensive weapons, is going to have the receivers. This offense is going to be elite. That was my opinion heading into the season. It has not been that for the Georgia Bulldogs so far this year. Not saying that it can't be there eventually, but right now it's just not. And what's not clicking, what's working, what's not working, we're going to dive into that this episode. But for Carson, the guy that I thought was the number 1 quarterback heading into the season, has really dropped himself out of probably the first round and has worked his way maybe into mid-round. And he's going to have more opportunities and more games, including next weekend against Ole Miss, to work back hey, I deserve to be a higher draft stock. But I think right now the main focus should not be that. The main focus for Carson should be, as he alluded to yesterday in the postgame, how do I continue to try and win football games? Because right now, the frustrating part about college football in general is these guys are worried about money. They're worried about likes. They're worried about where they can transfer to the next shiny object. Obviously, NFL draft stock, and the love for university at times feels like it gets lost a little bit. That old school mentality where I commit to university, I'm there, it's my school, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to win and succeed there. Carson is that, though. For all this change in college football, Carson is that guy that has stayed at Georgia for 5 years, that truly loves the University of Georgia and just wants to win. Does he want to play better? Like he said yesterday, yes, he wants to play better, and he needs to play better, and he is capable of playing better. But the dude just wants to win. I truly believe that at the end of the day, Carson just wants to win football games. So is it going to keep him up late at night knowing that maybe his draft stock is slipping? Maybe a little bit. But guess what? Georgia's right now in the driver's seat to go.
All right, I want to stop this real quick, man, because my thing is like this, man. I'm assuming that was his opening speech about the conversation at hand, and my thing is with this, and I don't really mean to criticize Aaron Murray like this, but I'm gonna just be honest. I understand that Aaron Murray has a relationship with Carson Beck. Me myself, I've seen in the off season where Aaron Murray and Carson Beck had sit downs, and he interviewed Carson Beck about a lot of different things about his progression, his development, what's his plans with Georgia, why he decided to stay with Georgia and not go to Florida. So I understand he got a good rapport with Carson, and he don't want to sound like he's bashing Carson. And later on through the video, he will say certain things about Carson's game and that Carson may not like or whatever the case may be. But in my opinion, that opening statement was not. It had nothing to do with Carson's game plan or Carson's progression as a quarterback for Georgia. It has nothing to do with the way Carson has been playing and all of the interceptions. The caption of the video is "What's wrong with Carson Beck?" You know what I mean? That has nothing. The being a player that stays with the team and being committed to a team. That none of that has anything to do with the way he's been playing. And that's my thing with Aaron Murray is saying that that opening statement doesn't make sense. Now, if it was a situation where when Brock Vandergrip transferred to Kentucky and you wanted to use that opening statement for that situation, if that was the conversation about players transferring, then that would be a good opening statement. But to me, in my opinion, right off the bat, that was not a good opening statement about the way Carson has been playing these last few games. So let's get back to the video. I hope y'all understand what I'm saying, but let's get back to the
Go
video.
to Atlanta. Georgia's has everything in front of them to win a national championship. And for him, those are the top two goals: win in Atlanta, win a national championship. And if he does that and maybe throws 15 picks, is it a perfect season? No, but it's a championship season, and that's what he's going for right now. So for Carson yesterday, went back and watched the tape this morning, and it's truly, truly, it's so weird. It's always tough watching a game live on TV, not being in the stadium, watching it live, and getting a feel for, is it good, is it bad, what does it feel like, and then going back, 12 hours later and getting the coach's tape and watching and sitting down and saying, how does this really feel? And this is one of those moments where it's not as bad as it looked.
I can't agree with that. I can't agree with that. But I think he's gonna say it's not as bad as it looks, but it was not as good as. Let's see what he says.
Moments, and as we always say, it's as good as it looked either, but this was true.
Okay, he said it's not as good as he looks. I guess the video started skipping. It's not as good as it looks. It's not as bad as it looks. My thing is, man, it is as bad as it looks. It is because you have to understand he's done played 4 games the same exact way, throwing in tight windows and throwing to the opposite team. So it's like it's certain things about this video that I do not understand why Aaron Murray decided to say these certain things. But this is his opinion. I'm just giving my opinion on his opinion.
It's not as bad as it looks for the offense. I thought the offense looked actually really dang good. And then I thought this was a game where it wasn't as bad as it felt necessarily.
I mean, the only thing that was bad about this game was Carson Beck. So yeah, I agree with you, Aaron. The offense did look good. The O-line gave him time. The running backs look good. When ETN went out, Nate Frazier came in and did his thing. Nate Frazier became the same person that I've been saying on my channel that he was going to be. He's definitely going to be a dog or somebody that we need to look out for and probably going to be RB1 at some point. Yeah, so the offense was doing pretty good. It was just the quarterback. So we need to stick with that and not try to veer off to other players or other aspects of the offense. The main issue is Carson Beck.
Carson, he did, and Kirby said this after the game, he did make some big boy throws this football game. I thought he came out firing. I thought he looked good early. I thought he was accurate. I thought he was on time. I thought he was throwing the intermediate.
What are we considering big boy plays? Like, somebody please tell me, what are we considering big boy plays? Because everything that he does is short passes, screen passes, you know what I mean? A little 5 yard across the middle. Like, I haven't seen many big boy throws from Carson this whole season. Maybe 1 or 2 throws downfield a little deep. You know what I mean? Maybe 50 yards, but I don't see what and I watched the same game, so I don't see what big boy plays there's him and Kirby Smart is talking about. But let's get back
He
to
did
it.
stuff well. I thought he was throwing the quick game stuff well. A couple of plays down the field he was executing. Things started to come off a little bit when Dom had that big dig route about 15 yards down the field, and he threw it behind him. And then from there, the turnovers started to come out a little bit. And the first 2 turnovers, to be honest, those were on Carson. You cannot force footballs.
What game? Are we watching the same game? Because every game that I've watched, and I watch every game, no matter if I'm on trips, no matter if I'm in the bathroom handling business, no matter if I'm going to the store, I always make sure that I'm listening to the game or either watching the game. And every game that we've watched these last 4 weeks, these last couple of weeks, have been Carson throwing into traffic. I have yet to see. There's no other way, no other person you can put the interception on but the quarterback. So I'm not understanding what game are you watching, Aaron?
This is something he did not do a year ago. And I talked about this last week on a different show. Was a year ago, I praised Carson for taking the check down, getting the balls out of his hands,
I
taking
remember that.
completions. And him and I talked about this last year before the season. He's like, I
Yeah.
watched a lot of Aaron Rodgers. And what I learned from him is eliminating guys down the field and just getting the ball to my playmakers in space. And it seems like this year there's been hey, I need to push the ball vertically down the field. Hey, I need to show that I can throw the ball in the tight windows. And this is something I learned. I remember my last year in Kansas City. I tried to make all these big time plays in the preseason. I tried to fit in the tight windows. I tried to push the ball vertically down the field. And in practice, I wasn't doing that. In practice, I was kicking butt. I had one of the best fall camps, quote unquote, for the NFL that I had to that point. Preseason games came, and I was trying to be a hero and was throwing picks because I just wasn't running the offense. I remember sitting down with Coach Reed afterwards when I got cut, and he said, if you would have just run the offense and run the plays the way they were designed and taking completions, you would probably still be on this roster.
Yeah, Aaron, but how many games do we have to go through? How many picks do he have to throw before Mike Bobo says this to him? I'm sure Mike Bobo, Kirby Smart, I'm sure they've already told him to take what the defense gives you. This is his own decisions. So, I mean, my thing is, I'm sure that they've already said it to him. We don't understand. Only Carson knows why he throws into double coverage. Only Carson knows why he's throwing 3 to 4 interceptions every single game for the last couple of weeks. So we can't necessarily give our opinion. I understand where you're coming from because you felt like you had the same situation. You know what I mean, Aaron? But we can't necessarily give our opinion on that because by now, you know what I mean, I'm sure somebody would have told him that's a part of the coaching staff that just stick with the game plan and take what the defense give you. But he's trying to do way more than that. So I'm not knocking what you're saying right here, Aaron. I'm just saying, bro. It to me it's kind of not making sense, man. I don't know how y'all feel though.
And to me, Carson did that a year ago. He showed Bobo, the staff, the fans that I can just be efficient. Is it Cam Ward? Is it Shadur Sanders? Is it Nussmeier? It's not that, but doesn't mean that it's not good football. It's winning football. And I feel like this year he's gone away from that mentality a little bit. And there's maybe two reasons for that. One, the weapons are not as good as they were a year ago. And I think there's some frustration at times of, can we move the ball methodically down the field and score points because we don't have a Brock, but we don't have a Lad? Do I have to now be that superstar at quarterback?
No, I'm not going to say that either. So now we're downplaying the players that we have. I don't think these players will be starting if they weren't good enough to start. So I kind of feel like that's downplaying the players. I'm not saying that that's what he's intentionally trying to do. I'm just saying the point that he's trying to make, it makes it look like he's downplaying Arian Smith. He's downplaying Dylan Bell. He's downplaying some of the running backs. You know what I'm saying? So, or the tight ends, Oscar Depp and Lawson Lucky. I feel like they're just as talented. Come on, it's 4 or 5 different players. You mean to tell me 2 players, Lad McConkey and Brock Bowers, is the only reason why Carson is throwing picks? No, that's not the reason. Like, come on now. That's my thing. He's trying to veer off. And like I said, I'm a fan of Aaron Murray, so I'm not trying to, throw shade or anything. I'm not trying to make this a bash video. I'm just saying he's trying to veer off. You can't really veer off. You can't start speaking on talent because those guys are talented. They have shown us that they're talented. You know what I mean? We have more than enough guys on the field and off the field that can go down and make plays. Carson just have to stop making dumb decisions. That's all.
That has to force things in order for us to move the ball down the field. And listen, there's a time and place. Like, you don't want to always play conservative. At times you have to be a little bit risky, or like I just talked about, it is very difficult in SEC football to have a 12, 15 plus play drive and think that you're going to put 7 points on the board. You have to take some shots, calculated shots at certain points on the field. And you have to get those chunk plays essentially in order to score at times. So I think there was a little bit of a frustration of where the consistency from the playmakers. We've seen drops be an issue. We've seen inconsistent play from the offensive line due to injury.
We're talking about the last few weeks. The last time we had multiple drops was in the Texas game. We have never had that many drops this season. We haven't had multiple drops. Like I say, the only game we've played this season where we had multiple drops consistently was in the Texas game. So that's what I'm saying. It's like he's veering off from the main point. You got to come back to the main point. The main point is to not start trying to pick out different things from the offense. Yeah, the offense hasn't been perfect the whole season. Not at all. But when you have a quarterback, if I have a quarterback that's throwing multiple interceptions, I'm not going to find reasons to defend him. I'm going to figure out what's the problem, but I'm not going to give my opinion on why and start using or start veering off from the real reason. And I think, like I said, that's what Aaron seems to be doing. I don't think he's intentionally doing it. In a sense, I do. In a sense, I feel like because he feel like he got a relationship with Carson, he don't want to put all of the pressure on Carson or all of the blame. But you have to just state the obvious, man.
We've seen running backs in and out of the lineup. So I think all of that plays into why Carson has gone from what I would say a year ago was playing within the system, being a quote unquote game manager.
You only lost 2 players, bro. Like technically, we still have 2 good running backs. You know what I mean? You got ETN from over at Florida, and you got Nate Frazier. You know what I mean? A highly recruited 4-star player, and obviously, watching the game, you see what Nate Frazier is about. You know what I mean? So we only lost 2 players. So if you want to base this whole team around 2 players, then what does that say about Georgia?
To now feeling like I have to be an all-star. I have to be that first-round quarterback. I have to make all these elite throws every single play instead
saying, but
of like yesterday where the plays just come to him. When the play is there, he makes it. There's enough plays in a football game, and Bobo is going to give you enough opportunities to make big-time throws down the field.
All right, so right here, I'm going to stop it again. Right here is where he start to make that turn. So first, he was trying to slightly defend Carson in the first beginning of this video. Now he's going to start talking about what Carson is, the stating the obvious about Carson. So that's what confused me, and that's why I wanted to bring this video to y'all attention, because I was slightly confused. First, you was talking like you wanted to make excuses for Carson, but now you're starting to talk about the real situation at hand with Carson. So let me go back a little bit.
Play from the offensive line due to injury. We've seen running backs in and out of the lineup. So I think all of that plays into why Carson has gone from what I would say a year ago was playing within the system, being a quote unquote game manager, to now feeling like I have to be an all-star. I have to be that first-round quarterback. I have to make all these elite throws every single play instead of like yesterday where the plays just come to him. When the play is there, he makes it. There's enough plays in a football game, and Bobo is going to give you enough opportunities to make big-time throws down the field. They will come, and they'll come even more when you play within the offense and take the checkdowns and force a defense to come up instead of trying to push the ball down the field. So I think for Carson yesterday, the first two were him trying to make a play when they weren't there. Heck, he had one when he threw it to Arian Smith, and Arian dropped it. It was a dig route with a little check down. It's a simple read versus cover 2. If the linebacker gets depth, so if he backs up to 10 yards, you take the tight end. If he settles on the tight end, you have a dig route that comes in right behind him. Ball gets tipped. Someone catches it, gets hit. It's an incompletion. But that was another one. It was like, Carson, that's basic It's a basic scheme. All it is a high-low off a linebacker. If he gets any depth, you take it, and the tight end at that point has to get you a first down. And if he doesn't, good on Florida.
Right.
That's it. Those guys got scholarships too, and they're playing pretty darn good on defense as of late. So for Carson, this is my message, not to him, but I would say to fan bases. And I think he knows the message. I've kind of hit it, and I know Bobo's going to hit it too. Play within the system. Your plays will come. Execute it when they're there. Don't force it. Plain and simple. That's it. Just don't force it.
Right.
The one dig route from right to left, he was trying to throw a ball between three guys in a tight window. Just unnecessary. Message to fans. This is still a very talented quarterback. I saw some really good plays from the receivers yesterday. Georgia's got some talented running backs. The offensive line is playing significantly better over the past couple of weeks.
They
are. Offense, you can feel it is coming together. Like I'm telling you, I'm watching the game and the plays that Bobo are scripting. This is not me defending Bobo here by any means. I think obviously I love Bobo, but the offense was moving the football. They were executing.
Right.
The silly mistakes are what's keeping Georgia away from being a really, really good offense, from
Carson
being
Beck
a team that I don't think anyone in the country could deal with. The way the defense is playing, how good the defense can be, and then the glimpses of really good offensive performance when they don't shoot themselves in the foot, it's right there. It is so close, and I do think they have the talent. I think obviously Carson is definitely more than talented to get this done. So what's wrong with Carson? Back to the title. He's just forcing it. He's pressing. He's trying to make plays. He's trying to compensate for maybe not having guys that he had a year ago when he doesn't need to do that. And if he doesn't do that, this offense and Carson is going to be and will be very, very good this season. Florida overall, man, it sucks that DJ got hurt early in that football game.
All right, he about to get into Florida. I don't really want to talk about Florida. It's all dogs with me. But like I said, man, this is not a bashing video to Aaron Murray. I did disagree with a lot of things that he was saying within this video, mainly because I feel like I feel like rather than try to find other players or other things or other reasons why, Georgia's office is being held back, he's trying, rather than do that, just call a spade, bro. Carson have been playing terrible these pretty much all season. I don't think he played great at no point of the season. I think he played pretty good in the second half of the Alabama game versus the first game versus Clemson. Auburn, he had little flashes here and there, but outside of that, I don't feel like he really lived up to the hype or lived up to the standard. Like none at this point in this season. Like I said, this video I saw it earlier and I wanted to bring it to my channel and let the people that subscribe to me see it and give their thoughts on how they feel about Aaron Murray's opinion about what's wrong with Carson Beck, because Aaron Murray, I mean, you probably gonna get dragged in your own comments, to be honest with you, because nobody's hearing that. Everybody is on the same accord with this situation. Carson Beck have thrown, like you said, 11 interceptions within 4 or 5 games, bro. That is not good. You know what I mean? He only had 17 touchdowns, maybe. I think 15 to 17 touchdowns, but he threw 11 picks, you know? And it's crazy because I'm not a biased fan, so I don't have a relationship with Carson Beck. So I'm not gonna be biased about this situation. I'm gonna call a spade a spade. It's time to give another person a shot. I'm not saying put Carson on the back burner, but when you see that he's throwing multiple interceptions, and he threw multiple interceptions in the prior games, why don't you find somebody? I wanted to do a further breakdown, but this video is going to be kind of fairly long, and I didn't want to make it long at all, but I wanted to do a full breakdown on our options, because we have options, even though a lot of the guys are freshmen and some of the guys, they just have on the roster that they probably don't even feel like it's ready. But my thing is, we have options. We have 6 quarterbacks options outside of Carson Beck. 6 outside of Carson Beck. Everybody want to see Jaden Rashada and Ryan Puglisi. I would like to see them also, especially if we continue this road, you know. But all in all, man, it's always go dogs. Shout out to Aaron Murray and his channel Snaps. Like I said, I didn't want to make this a bash video, but I did disagree with a lot of things. Of course, my opinion is not going to be his opinion. A lot of things I do agree with him on, but this in particular video, I just feel like him and Kirby Smart, they keep, making different excuses for, a quarterback that's playing terrible. You know what I mean? And like I said, I'm not a biased fan, so I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna call a spade a spade. You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna hold y'all any longer, man. Y'all stay tuned to the Dawg House. I'm gonna consistently bring you more content, more highlight videos, and we're gonna consistently talk about the dogs and what we need to do better and how we need to get better, baby. So y'all already know what it is. Stay tuned to the Dawg House.